Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first Discovery Box tasting. I'm here with Ed from Wise Bartender. Say hello, Ed.
Hello, how you doing?
And this is the first tasting of our new subscription Discovery Box, and the first time I've done a tasting with Ed. So this is going to be interesting. I've already warned Ed that he just has to butt in order to get a word in edgeways. So that is allowed. So. And you're also welcome to tell me that I'm talking too much in the comments too. We're just going to wait for a few people to join. But while we do, should we just do a quick run through on what's in the box? We've got we've got Jimba. We've got some ginish and tonic, which is in our can. We've got some Mcguigan Sauvignon Blanc to give you a taste of a bit of wine. Square root rhubarb soda because we wanted to keep it a bit seasonal. Basic butch kombucha because I love a good kombucha and I've not tried this one yet. Celtic Marches rose cider, Impossible lager and unlimited IPA. So those are all the things we've got in the box. I don't blame people if they're out and about because it's a boiling hot day, but hopefully some of these fresh from the fridge will cool you down lots. What have you been drinking on these hot days, Ed?
Oh, do you know, I've had loads recently. It's been.
You're literally every day surrounded by hundreds.
I know. Actually, we have so much coming. So this week it's probably been the Rock Sober. So I've had their triple and the IPA, and that's been fantastic. I've been guzzling them down.
They've not sent me any of that yet. I'm feeling a little bit jealous now.
Well, you should be because they're actually really good. And Lerwig, all their fruit ones are now, we've got them all back in stock. So there's a mango, a grapefruit, a lemon, and a pineapple.
Is that a beer?
Sorry?
What is it? A mango and a lemon what?
Oh, it's a beer. It's a beer. They're all individual beers, yeah, and they are fabulous. So on a sunny day like today, they go down so well.
I've also been on the beers because it's a recovery drink, and I did the 3 peaks at the weekend and had a beer at the end of each one.
Did you?
Rather than a boring Lucozade.
Yeah.
Beer. Hey, alcohol-free beer. So that's where I was.
The isotonic ones.
They're isotonic, just by virtue of being alcohol-free. So let's make a start on what we've got in the Discovery Box this week. For everybody watching, a couple of things. This is our first Discovery Box. We really appreciate your feedback and thoughts, whether it's floating your boat and is useful for you and the sort of things you'd like to see. And then please ask questions. I'm not going to shout out your name or anything like that, but you can put your questions and I will pick them up as we go through. And they can be questions about alcohol-free in general, as well as the products that we've got here today, because we really want you to go away with more knowledge than you came here with, okay?
Absolutely.
Right. Jimba, you should have a teeny little serving here. I have to wait a minute. The screen is backwards. I should tell you this, Ed. So everything's a mirror. So I always find it ridiculous. We should shake it.
We should definitely shake it.
And tell me a bit more about Jimba. This little bit will go a long way, won't it?
Absolutely. This bit will go a very long way. You'll need a very small amount because it is quite strong, but it is a ginger concentrate and it's all organic, but it's got lemon and there's a few herbs and spices in there as well. So we'll have a little taste, shall we? Yeah,
so I always think that some of the ginger sinks at the bottom, so shaking it is a good thing to do.
Yeah, you do
and
need
then
to shake
I can have mine with tonic, and this bottle's how many mils? 20 mils, but it doesn't need very much in there to go with the tonic. So I'm doing a Jimba and a bit of tonic. So I'm going to do a little bit, and then I'm going to add. I said I'm going to do a little bit. Look, it's gone. That didn't work. Okay, so
Jimba is definitely one of my favourites. So I'm quite happy to have a bit neat, but I'm going to have a bit with just some carbonated water as well, just because that's how it's perfect serve, as they say.
Well, our festival, Jimba was the #1 talked about drink on our survey. I have had it neat, but I'm a bit not good.
It is fiery. It does get you. It really gets back your throat, and you feel sort of, I'm getting hot already, so I'm feeling sweat coming in.
It's just incredible. So it's a really concentrated. I'm going to have it with tonic, which I'm hoping will add a nice bit of bitterness it. It's also worth knowing that Jimba's now available in quite a lot of places. They've been doing a lot of work on getting into retail across the country, so you can find them in all sorts of craft shops and boutique shops and so on, and you'll be able to pick them up, and I'm going to suggest some of those places shortly, she says.
They do come in many different sizes as well, so they range from 200 up to 700, and there's a few in between. So if you get the taste and you want to get it a large amount, you can always bring a big bottle home.
Yes, and it's the big bottles. We actually did. A lot of people wanted them so much that they were good thank yous for our volunteers, because that's what everybody wanted, was a bottle of Jimba. You can get them in Perky Blenders coffee bars. You can get them in Whole Fresh. You can get them in Yardarm, Village Organics. You see the sort of boutique, sort of farm shops and those sort of things. All of those places, Earth Organic, health food shops, have all got them in. And Anthropology, the store, have got them in. They have very few drinks, but they do have Jimba in. The other thing I wanted to say is, because it's a concentrated, it's like having a very strong spirit. And so a little bit goes really well in lots of different cocktails. So you can do a Jimba Virgin Mojito. Ginger's brilliant in an alcohol-free mojito. You can do a green spritz. They do a green tea Jimba sour on their website, which I really love the look of, which goes with a sage syrup, has 120 mils of green tea, lime juice Jimba, sage spirit, a bit of egg white, and a few ice cubes, and that creates a really lovely sour, which is amazing.
Sounds fantastic, absolutely. And they also, I was inspired because on one of the bigger bottles, there's the tasting notes, and on there it had a glaze for barbecue ribs. But I didn't do ribs, I did pork belly, and do you know what? It came out fantastic. It was such a good marinade, so tasty.
You can also use the ingredient of banana bread. You can use it in lots of cooking. They've got food recipes on their website as well. I do like an alcohol-free drink that you can use as a cooking ingredient.
Definitely.
At the start of lockdown, when we had quite a few drinks here, I did start to experiment making my own malt loaf with beer.
Oh, that sounds good.
So, which still doesn't taste as good as Serene, to be honest. Serene's just there on its own, but malt loaf is made from, is partly made with malt syrup, which is a byproduct of the brewing process. This is just beautiful and fiery, not overly sweet. It's not like if you were to put some it's not like a ginger syrup, but it is concentrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very powerful.
Yeah, they use cane sugar instead of refined sugar, so it's really not, artificial sweet. It's like a natural, and it just makes it taste so good.
If you haven't tried this, then this is definitely something that I think you should pick up. It'd be a great staple to keep in your fridge and in your cupboard. You can have lots of drinks with it, including adding it to, a hot chocolate for a bit of a punch, to adding it to recipes. Very beautiful.
Absolutely.
Mm.
No, I did get putting a bit of tonic water in there as well. Just it really livens down the burn, so you can just keep on drinking it.
That's because you know how delicate a flower I am with drinks. So I've got a glamorous assistant handing me drinks from the fridge so that I don't have to. Well, I thought it was so I don't have to have a cold drink, but I think it's because he wants to minesweep all of my leftover drinks. So he's just downed that Jimba. Got fiery eyes all of a sudden.
I thought it was warming up over there.
No, well, apparently not. So,
apparently not.
So next we have ginish, which is a ginish and tonic. Now, a lot of the alcohol-free spirits you'd have seen, come in big bottles. They're £20 bottle. Now, many of them are started to produce what are called ready-to-drink cans, but to and I means a can of gin and tonic.
Yes.
And this is really helpful. We had a load of these in our picnic tasting last month. These things that you can take out and about with you on a picnic, when you're on a train journey, all of those sorts of things. And this is ginish. Now, you would have seen Ish Gin and Ish Rum in Holland and Barrett, and I think these have gone into Holland and Barrett now as well.
Yeah.
but they're beginning to produce lots and lots of things. They're a lovely Danish company.
Yeah, they've got a good few, good range going on. They do a spritz-ish as well. So
Yeah.
take
And,
a spritz.
and they've gone into sparkling wines as well, and those come in a can too. So they're really expanding their ish, and it's a founder's name that I always remember because it's Morton, and it always reminds me of Bahar. It's terrible, isn't it? That shows my age, doesn't it? Oh, I haven't got mine open yet. Hang on.
Go on.
Right then, I should
Get
out
into
of glass like a proper person. So what do we?
Mm.
I got bubbles up my nose.
You got too quick. No, you definitely get like the sharp bitter notes from the tonic and the quinine, absolutely. And then there's fragrant spices of juniper and coriander seeds. You definitely get that.
You definitely get, I think this is where there are alcohol-free spirits that are a distilled botanical. They don't claim to be a gin. Ginish claims to be a gin because Ginish has got juniper in, and you can really smell that juniper and you can really taste that juniper. It's a really nice light gin and tonic.
Yeah, no, you really can get the classic gin flavourings. And there's a good citrus notes coming from this as well.
Mm. I really wish I had more of the important things like ice and lemon in me, so I could garnish all of these properly.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting ice, but it's getting too
much.
many.
Have on your list next time, Ed, because I don't have room in the fridge, and
But I like Ginish as well because there's a little bit of burn to it as well, so it really makes it feel quite authentic. There's a lot of the gins out there which don't quite meet the same standard, but I think Ginish is really, really good.
Yeah, and I think, definitely. I could really see myself drinking this when I'm out on a picnic or after an event. It's definitely it feeling very summer and very now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Once the sun's out, this is a perfect accompaniment.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I've got any questions. Wait a minute. Oh, I did manage to press. I thought I'd still got Jimbo running across the bottom. I'm more organised than I thought. No comments or questions yet. But anyway, so that's the Ginish. And again, that's beginning to make itself known. But you've got all of the ish range in.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got all of the ish range in. We've got the clear spirits, so not the RTDs, in two different sizes, and that is gin and rum. The rumish is really nice as well. Goes well with your classic rum.
Well, so much like rum, you get that wonderful waft.
It really does. There's a good vanilla and spiciness to it. They've done it really well. And yeah, that comes in two sizes, so you can get 35 cls or 50 centilitres, and absolutely cracking they are.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with that. It's got a really light and fresh and citrusy and definitely fills that gin and tonic spot for me. Definitely. Okay, so next we have got Mcguigan Sauvignon Blanc. Now, this is a wine I haven't tried yet, so this is going to be a good taste test. And if some of you don't know, we're now doing a wine box each month with Christine Parkinson, where Catherine came from. I apologise, I am slightly tired from
it's been a long week already.
Yeah, it's been a long week already from Christine, who is a wine expert and has been in the industry for years and years and years. So we're going to be bringing together what we think is the best and teaching you to drink alcohol-free wine, because it's not the same as, you'll never quite get the same experience drinking wine, because wine is, 12-13%. You're taking an awful lot of alcohol out. Even a spirit is normally diluted with a mixer, so you're at a lower ABV. So wine is the biggest ABV to drop, really. And so getting a good alcohol-free wine, I know, is everybody's wish. But I have a few tips on that too. And I like the fact that it's got some. Oh, look, you've got a proper wine glass.
I do. I got the cut crystal out just for you.
I've just got a stemless one. So, oh, I shouldn't smell it on the bottle. This is why I've got somebody else doing the wine tasting with me, you know. So
I'll be interested.
No, I was an unsophisticated wine drinker.
No, I'll be really interested to watch how you guys do the tasting and which ones are your favourite. I'll be keen to keep an eye out for that.
So there's a few things that are really lovely about this. First of all, it's really mellow and soft. I don't know what that means. It means it's not got some sharp vinegary notes like a cheap wine if you were drinking. It's actually very smooth in its taste. It's not overly sweet. I'm actually quite surprised about that because sometimes they can come sweet because in order to make an alcohol-free wine, they take the alcohol out and then they have to add flavour back in, and often to do that adds extra sweetness. But this definitely isn't too sweet.
No, definitely not. And so it's got a good nose. It's almost gooseberry to start with, like quite fruity and citrusy.
Yeah, it's definitely not your woody and oaky Chardonnays. It's definitely more fruity, definitely. But and I could definitely taste those coming through. But this is really lovely. This has defied my expectations.
This is really good.
Yeah. Well, you know, my expectations are quite low in wine. In fact, when I gave up drinking, there wasn't even many alcohol-free beers around. So I'm on year 9 now. And so I just didn't try any alcohol-free stuff for ages. And so when I went back to trying the wines, you know, I couldn't really find anything. And then I discovered a couple of things that were really important. One is that really they came into their own when I was having food. So as a drink on their own, I prefer a beer or a kombucha or something like that. But with a meal, the alcohol-free wine suddenly changed and made my meal complete. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is my taste buds changed. They changed quite a bit after giving up drinking. Yeah. And so actually my taste in wine are now more varied. You know, I used to just hit the high ABV reds before. And after a few mouthfuls, these, you know, like any wine, you need to try more than once in order to get an appreciation of a drink.
Yeah, to get a good appreciation. Now, what I like about this one is it does like really linger, and there's like a long dryness, and quite a few of the alcohol-free wines just, you know, they sort of dissipate quite quickly. But these really got good body. I can sort of feel like the tang on the tongue, and it sort of, you know, it really does just bring out a long drawn flavour, which is what you need in wine, because, you know, the alcohol wines, they last for a long time in your mouth, don't they? So this is definitely comparable. And
the other thing is, you talk about the long drawn stuff, and it's got body, it's got a texture, and I never thought texture. You know, I'd never thought about this before I gave up drinking. That a texture of a drink makes a difference, but this has got what they would have called legs, isn't it? In wine terms, you know. It slowly goes down the glass, not quickly goes down the glass. I think that's probably what it said. I don't remember. And what I would call speed humps. So I don't want to suddenly gulp this back quickly. I actually do want to sip and savor it. And for me, that's quite important, because often when I'm drinking in company with people who've got an alcoholic drink, and I'm drinking something alcohol-free, I drink it so much quicker, and I'm left with nothing to do with my hands. I feel like I've finished too quickly. So I don't have a desire to gulp this down as a refreshment. I have a desire to drink this quite slowly. So speed humps are a winner here.
Speed humps, savour it as you go along. Absolutely. But yeah, as you were saying,
who's been very intrigued now by speed humps in that wine. So yeah, that's available in Tesco's. Definitely gooseberry, citrus, and grassy tones. It's an Australian wine for those of you who are interested. And this one's at 0.05. So it's so for that to come out at 0.05 is actually really quite impressive. I'm really quite impressed. I've said that twice in the same sentence. Anyway,
is that impressive?
Yeah, have it with roast chicken or a nice frittata, or any of those things that you would want to have a white wine with, or make it longer and spritz it with some sparkling water, like you would with a wine spritz, or with some ice in it.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Do you sell the little bottles as well as the big bottles?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Yeah, big bottles, little bottles. We've got so we've got a Shiraz, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and a rosé. I can't remember what the rosé is.
All in single serve bottles.
All in single serves and all in big ones.
Because I don't drink wine that often, but I open up a whole bottle just for me.
Absolutely.
So it's
we
not
also
like
have a little bubbly as well. So if
You're
you
not
want a single serve celebration.
Yeah. So that's cool. Perfect. And it means you could do a mixed box with some of your smaller ones. And
absolutely. Very true. We do already.
Next got square soda. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. I keep thinking I've forgotten to do the ticker, but I haven't. And you definitely have to turn that upside down.
Definitely have to.
If you haven't, have you seen their new cans?
I have indeed. They're fantastic.
Are stored and shared upside down, so that you have to turn them around in order to get the bits off the bottom. And the bits are good.
The bits are good. The bits are tasty.
The bits show you that this is a really fresh soda. And I wanted to put this in the tasting because I wanted to show that not all of the alcohol-free options you have to go for are about replicating a wine, a beer, or a cider in that way, but could be a really glorious soda. And there are many reasons why I love Square Root soda. One is that they make with fresh ingredients. In fact, they make everything inside their own little factory unit. They are very picky about the ingredients they use. They're seasonal, so rhubarb's now. You won't get the rhubarb one in the winter. And they use very little sugar.
No, I love their cola. I think the cola is probably the best cola I've ever had. Do you not think so?
I'm not a cola fan at all, so I don't judge that at all. But I love their gin and tonic. I absolutely adore the black currant soda.
Do you?
My favourites. I'm very much I quite like dark fruits. I love the black currant soda. What are you laughing at?
No, not laughing, no, not at all. No, I was just I like all of them, but the cola for me is definitely like the best cola around. It's got no caffeine in it as well, so I can drink.
Like cola should be.
Yeah, basically, I can drink it so quickly without any trouble.
And this is it just tastes beautifully of rhubarb.
It is rhubarb all over.
How do you say anything else about it? It's not like when you have a rhubarb and custard sweet.
No, it doesn't taste false, does it?
No, it's actually very subtle. So if you don't like rhubarb, you would still probably like this because it's a really subtle rhubarb taste. It's not been, like I say, it's not been forced, but rhubarb is forced, isn't it? That's a problem. Do you like the joke? No.
Fantastic.
But it's nice and subtle.
Yeah, because it starts off quite mellow, but then the rhubarb sort of does come in with a bit of a punch, but it's not like overbearing. Because I find rhubarb can definitely be overbearing, but I think because it's all natural, it doesn't taste synthetic like the rhubarb and custards.
Yeah,
I can't get behind those, but this rhubarb very much so.
So they do a lemonade. They've got a raspberry lemonade for the summer as well. Made from rhubarb from the Yorkshire rhubarb triangle.
Ooh.
And it does taste as pure and unadulterated. And I know that the colour changes from season to season. So last summer the pink was different depending on the rhubarb.
Yeah, I did see that.
Fragrant and earthy rhubarby tastes. And for once in a soft drink, after the water, sugar isn't the biggest ingredient here. Rhubarb is the biggest ingredient, and then sugar, which is highly unusual in a soft drink. And they use so little sugar, which means it also has an expiry date on them because they don't last forever with that little sugar in.
No, they don't.
Good time you can't see one now, aren't you?
No, I thought I checked. Absolutely, they're all good. We got a good few months left.
That's cool. When we first did some campaigning about getting pubs to stock something different, there was a Hackney pub, and bearing in mind Square Root are local to Hackney. And I said, why aren't you serving Square Root, which is really local to you? Why have you got all this, Fentimans? And they didn't even put the Fentimans in the fridge. Why have you got this sugary Fentimans? They said, oh, well, Square Root's got a 6-month expiry date, and so we end up throwing it away. And I said, well, how bad a salesperson are you? You can't, in Hackney, sell in 6 months a local craft soda when you've got craft everything else in your bar. I have to say the bar's changed quite a lot now, and that was 6 years ago now, but
I think it's all down to the salesman and how you put it to them.
Yeah, I think I've won the case on that one. Yeah, so
absolutely.
Next is a kombucha, basic kombucha. This is a new one for me. So if you don't know what a kombucha is, I'm just going to check. We've got a question. Somebody likes those. Yes. So kombucha is a drink that is made from green tea and sugar. It's actually got a lot of sugar in when it's first put into the container. But the good news is the sugar's not for you. It's for something called the SCOBY.
SCOBY.
This is going to sound terrible, but it's great, everybody. It's like a living organism that sits on the top like a mushroom. Now it just sounds terrible, doesn't it? It basically eats away at the sugar and creates the kombucha. And it's an ancient method of producing a drink that has been, handed down. And it's very healthy for you because it's made using a living organism. It's a probiotic. And there are many kombuchas. When I first got into kombucha, it's because I tasted real kombucha, which was very different to what was available in the health food shops, which tended to be a really bad and very acidic kombucha, covered with lots of blueberries and fruit, and sold as a health drink. Now the kombuchas coming through are brewed and made as really good kombuchas that you don't need to add flavour to unless you really want to add a flavour to it. So that's where basic kombuchas come in as well.
Yeah, I like the cans, don't you?
Yeah, I like their cans. And this is just a basic unflavoured kombucha. Is it a beer? No, it's not. This is booch.
It's a booch.
And this is what turns it from being something in the health food shop for all the gym bunnies to something that you would have in a pub or restaurant. And kombucha can, and this is the beauty of kombucha, make it with one tea, you can make it taste one way, make it with another tea, it tastes another. So you can make it taste a bit like a Prosecco with a biscuity sort of aftertaste, or you can make it taste a bit more like a beer or a lager. What does this one taste like?
Let's have a sniff.
It looks like a beer in pouring it out, and look at that colour. It's got a lovely beery colour.
It does look like a beer when you pour it out, doesn't it?
And it's got a slight, because basically kombucha is brewed in the way it is, it's slightly acidic, which is brilliant to make it an adult alcohol-free drink. Because once again, it brings down the sweetness. It creates those speed humps that you don't drink too fast. It creates a very distinctive flavour.
Yeah, so they call this one a session booch. So unlike many other booches, it's not too acidic, if you know what I mean. It's still nice and dry, and it still gives you it's not vinegary. It's supposed to be sweet enough to still drink, but obviously it's not too sweet, being a booch, and it's just, it is lovely. So
that's what I'd say. A really bad kombucha, i.e. one that I make. I tried it. I was terrible at it. Can be really acidic. A really good kombucha has been made, so there's no the level of acidity is just right for a drink that gives you that feeling of having something adult and grown up, something that you can sip slowly, but that goes with food, but it's also not something that you would use to quench your thirst with. And there's definitely a little bit of bitterness in there, which comes through, I think.
There's definitely a bit of bitterness. It's the dryness that always gets me. I just love how you have such a good big body, and it's so like fruity and punchy, and then just a second after the initial sip, it just dries, and you can really feel it in the side of your cheeks, the side of your tongue. Just gives a great mouthfeel.
They only do this one flavour at the moment, don't they? Because often they do all sorts of flavours.
At the minute.
This.
That's just they do just the one at the minute, yeah. But it's got a nice tangy bite to it.
Do you know much about the people who make it?
No, I don't terribly, to be honest with you. I know this is, like I say, the only one they do. We've had it for maybe a couple of months now, so it's fairly fresh to us in the grand scheme of things. So again, it's one of my my favoured kombuchas, to be honest with you, just because it doesn't have the vinegary taste.
Yeah.
They really nailed it with a nice, dry, sweet.
Yeah, I think that's definitely they've decided that that's what they're going for. They're not going for the health food refreshment. They're not trying to make it have loads of healthy bacteria in it, because I think they pasteurize this one. So they're using kombucha to make a really good drink. It's still got the the good acids and I can never say it, antioxidants. I still can't say it. But anyway, it's still got all of those, but it's not designed to be full of so much live cultures that it's a healthy drink. They've designed it for drinking with food and drinking with friends. It's nice, lovely.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It is well made.
I need to speak to these people. They seem great, and they've clearly thought a lot about it and put a lot of love and care into this kombucha.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely be one of my favourites. And I'm very fussy with my kombuchas.
Fabulous. Now I like the branding and the dinosaur basic booch. It's
sort
of opens it up for everyone.
Ed, is that what you're saying? You just like a dinosaur?
I just like dinosaurs, yeah.
Everyone, put a dinosaur in your packaging. Ed will love it. Right, I leave some of this for you, because I can see him at the side going, where's mine? I've drunk it all. Okay, next we're on to Celtic Marches Rose Cider, which we need. You've got a bottle opener, I've got a bottle opener, I've got a big drop one there.
I've got a Calenio one.
Oh, we need to have our bottle openers to match the brands that we're tasting.
Yeah, I didn't plan that far ahead.
So this is from a small family-run brewery, isn't it? Cider farm, Celtic Marches. They are absolutely lovely people, and they started making alcohol-free cider a few years ago. So, yes, they are from. Yes, they are. They're 8 generations of orchard growers. They have 8 cider apple varieties. So there we go. I knew it was a family concern. So that's really cool. And I love the fact that they've made a cider. So from Herefordshire, which is still not as good as Somerset for cider, but
Absolutely not. But we'll let them off.
Biased in any way towards Somerset. Spent my teenage years there. And wise bartender. Well, you're not quite Somerset. You're Wiltshire, aren't you?
No. We are Somerset officially.
Oh, officially, yeah. You are. That's true.
Yeah, we're just half an hour south of Bristol, so technically we are Somerset.
So this is their Holly Go Lightly Rosé cider. They have a unflavoured natural cider as well in this range. They also have some pulp ciders, which are a bit more earthy and a little bit more, what I would say, like a more traditional scrumpy cider, which always floats my boat. But the rosé is beautiful for summer. Stick some ice in that in a nice big pint glass, and they've got it in a nice big cider bottle, so it looks just like the other ciders on the shelf.
That's it. Like you wouldn't think twice if that was an alcoholic one or not.
Oh, it smells like raspberries though.
You say raspberries? I was thinking more strawberries.
No, you're right.
You reckon?
Just a red fruit. It smells of a red fruit.
It smells of red fruit.
Oh God, I knew. This is why you're here, Ed. You know this, right? You're here because I do things like that.
No, that's all good.
This is lovely. It's a really lovely subtle cider with a strawberry nose and a lot of fruitiness to it.
There's a real pleasant acidity to it. Don't you reckon?
Yeah. Oh, look.
Again, it's nice. It is sweet, but it's certainly not too sweet. It's fairly mellow on the sweetness, and then there's a good dryness as well.
I think you always have to work the sweetness scale on cider down from what does Copperberg alcohol-free taste like? Oh, pure sugar.
Yeah.
And then downwards, and we're now getting near the less sugar end, and they've made that they've done really well at not over sugaring it to make it. I sometimes think fruit ciders can be really just like, you know, an alco pop really, and so to be able to make it so it feels like an adult drink. I was just having a look. I don't think they have the calories on here. I was going to see how much that went. I don't think I can see that. Wait a minute.
But yeah, this compared to the Copperberg are absolutely two different kettles of fish. The first, like Copperberg, is you can have half a bottle and then your teeth start getting a bit furry where the sweetness comes in. But with this, I reckon you can get through a whole bottle, no trouble at all.
No, really nice. Really refreshing, perfect
Really refreshing.
out and about. Definitely.
Yeah, and a day like today with a bit of ice, absolutely cracking.
It's my sit here and smell it, even though I can't name the fruit properly.
Red fruit.
Cool. I'm just checking if we've got any more comments. No, we just have wise bartender has sent a picture of a dinosaur. Just for you, Ed.
Well, I think that's for Dougie, really.
Cool. Okay. Glamorous assistant.
Are we moving on?
He's losing the thread.
He's enjoying too much.
So next we have Impossible, and so this is brand new, right?
Yeah, this is brand new. It's not been with us very long at all, but it's, do you know, it's gone very quickly. So you might
so
want
much so that these are his unique starter bottles, which means you get a unique bottle signed by the maker, which is very lovely.
And this is the first 500, so there's not many of these left now.
And so it's made by a guy called Mark, who's put a lot of thought into the type of beer he wanted to produce. It just wasn't any old beer. He wanted to have beer with some functional ingredients. And of course, he picked my favourite ingredient of all to put in tea, which has L-theanine in. So often people think of tea as being caffeine and keeping you awake, when actually cold, it takes heat to activate tea for a start, but then caffeine for start. But actually the most important thing about tea is the L-theanine, which relaxes you as well, which I guess is why everyone says, oh, keep calm and have a cup of tea. It's that relaxing effect. And that's the relaxing bit that he wanted to get into his tea, into his beer, so that when you were out, you felt relaxed. And so that is an alcohol-free beer with functional ingredients from Mark. I'm going to open it now as well. So I've only tasted this once before.
It's a great colour. I really like it. It's nice and light, ambery. You see, you get the light through it. It's nice and clear as well.
It's got a little bit of that green tea umami smell about it. So really good, particularly Japanese tea will have a good umami smell around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, those characteristics as well with the hops and the bitterness.
No, it's got sweet biscuity malts. Do you know what I mean? Balanced with some botanical hops.
And it's very light. So I'm somebody who's only come to beer as an alcohol-free drink, which is important to know because I always thought I didn't like beer. And what I realised is I just didn't want to like beer because there were other things that I could drink that were stronger and quicker. I know I shouldn't say that sort of thing, but that's what I did. And I have become a big convert to beer. And I'm beginning to learn what it is that I like. And I like this for one reason, that it's not overly bitter, because some beers can be really on the bitter end. and that really doesn't suit me. I'm really interested in the complex, how the range of flavors can go. I still couldn't tell you the difference between an IPA and all those things, but I'm beginning to get used to the fact that lager's a lot lighter and less bitter, and so getting some really nice lagers is really good. So I actually had a Lucky Saint at the weekend at the end of one of the mountains as a recovery drink, and it's a really seriously good lager. It's just everything's in balance. And then again with this one, it's nice and subtle and light and refreshing, and then there's this lovely hint of umami in it.
Yeah, it's nice and refreshing, but it's lager-esque in a way. It's got a good, clean, dry and crisp finish. So like you're saying, it's not too bitter. It's nice and clean.
It is. Is it a lager or is it just a beer?
I think this is just a beer.
Oh, I put lager on the bottom of the top.
Oh, they don't claim it to be a lager, but it is. To be honest, it is more lagery than the proper ale, or it's certainly not an IPA or going down that sort of route.
No,
it's not. No, it's not a dark one. So it's definitely more lager style. It's so clean and crisp, but it's just extremely moreish.
I think Mark's done a wonderful job on this.
Mm.
So yeah, we're gonna have to stop drinking and do some talking.
I don't really want to. I want to just keep on drinking it.
Yeah. So again, if you're somebody who isn't used to drinking beers, but you want to try some beers for the first time, I might suggest people go do two things. One is to go subtle and try something like an Impossible Brew or a Lucky Saint, which are sort of very clean and crisp lager style beers, and try some lagers, maybe some citrusy ones, and then go to the other extreme at the same time and try maybe something like a stout and a sour. And then everything else sort of falls in between those. But it was Big Drop Stout that first got me onto beer, realising there was an amazingly complex drink that went with chocolate. Right? And I'm realising that I could really begin to tailor my personal evenings out by having a different type of drink. And that after drinking a few stouts, I realised I did quite like them, and they were for me, but they weren't like for every day. I'll have an alcohol-free stout, particularly if I'm having a dessert and those sorts of things. I definitely start off the evening with a lager, and suddenly that's quite exciting because suddenly you've got, choices, and you're picking your drinks by what you're eating, and suddenly you feel incredibly sophisticated. So I definitely put this on the list if you're not sure about trying beers, to definitely go for one of these.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, the alcohol beer world is so massive and so varied, and now it's actually being sort of translated into the alcohol-free world, where the knowledge, sort of from the craft beer revolution of the sort of last 5 to 10 years, are now being implemented in alcohol-free. So it's becoming bigger and bigger and better, and each brew seems to be, they're bringing something else to the table, and it's definitely.
Yeah, and they're winning competitions against full strength beers.
Absolutely.
This is long gone are the days of caliber, right?
Oh no, such long gone. And the thing is, I did have an alcoholic beer not too last week it was, and the whole time I was drinking it, I was just like, I've got so many better alcohol-free ones in the warehouse. Like, why am I even doing this? And it's only because it was given to me. That was it.
There we are.
There we are.
And also my favourite thing is that next to water, the healthiest thing you can drink in the pub is an alcohol-free beer. Generally 3 ingredients, no added sugar, low in calorie. Without the alcohol in, it's full of all the good B vitamins and isotonic properties that are just stripped away with alcohol. So,
Absolutely.
We used to make beer. We started making beer to clean water to drink. It was and still lots of the water If you go to, like, I've been to visit in previous lives, I've been to visit some of the water plants, and some of the water plants are water filtered in London, is still filtered through technology from the brewing industry. So the Chinese made tea to clean their water, we made beer. It explains so much about us as a culture. But, there's a lot of good things to say about beer and what beer have brought us in the UK. And so the fact that they're getting their place back as a low ABV drink, which it always was before the high 6% sort of beers came in, is really fantastic. So now next we've got an unlimited IPA, but guys, you said lager instead.
Yes, well, we did have an issue where they were in the wrong boxes. So
Yeah,
I packed your box, so it's definitely my fault. But yeah, I've got the right one here, so don't you worry.
I'm talking about health. I know that these are really, really low in calorie. So
absolutely.
The lager is 23 calories.
Yeah, and this one is 13.
13.
Yes.
That brings it in lower than Nanny State, which is 15 calories. That's for the whole bottle, 13 calories.
Whole bottle, yeah. Hang on,
and that's because Johnny, and that's because Johnny, who makes them, is a big gym bunny. He wanted to make the healthiest alcohol-free beer. Wow, look at the colour of that.
Yeah, look at that. It's a dark, it looks rich already before you even get to taste it, doesn't it?
This is good because, this is where we show I'm really bad. So this is the colour of the lager. Hold yours up, hold yours up. So this is if you want to know the difference between a lager and an IPA. So this is a lot lighter. That IPA is a lot darker. And what makes it an IPA, Ed?
Just essentially just different hops you use. So lager, predominantly we'll use things like Pilsner, and it's generally just cleaner, crisper. Whereas the IPAs, you'll come out with a lot more tropical notes. There'd be different bitters. There'd be different malts in there. So a whole host of reasons, really.
This lager is lovely. It's got a lovely, when there's a drink with a biscuity note at the end, this one's got that note. And again, it's really nice and light. Oh, I could definitely, that's very, very drinkable for lager.
No, this is absolutely cracking. This has got, like the tropical notes that I was saying, that definitely comes through. It's got good citrusness about it. What I like about this one compared to others, though, it's got a real rich maltiness, but it's not overly malty. So some of the alcohol-free beers from sort of 2-3 years ago, in order to give them the body of a real beer, they'd sort of pile in the malts, and it sort of ended up not really tasting like a beer anymore. But this is so good. It's still got the maltiness, like to keep it all together, and it means it's like nice and full-bodied, basically. But it's got a good. It's almost chocolate-esque, where the malts come through. It tastes like a bit like cocoa.
And that's what I think why I'm gaining a big appreciation of beer. So this is more honey and caramel, but it's not like this is honey and caramel. You're eating some chocolate bar. This is really light and subtle honey and caramel, and I can imagine drinking this really easily when I'm out having a meal, sharing a bottle. I think sharing a bottle of this size over a meal for 2 people is perfect. Then you can have a different beer with your dessert, for example.
Absolutely.
I even demand wine glasses sometimes for my beer if I'm having a meal out.
That's it. You've got to get your schnoz in there. But I like these as well because so when we were speaking to Johnny about these beers, we were talking about the fizziness essentially, and we were saying so if you were to drink it from the bottle, it is still quite carbonated. It's still quite fizzy, but if you pour it into a glass, the CO2 gets released, so it's not as fizzy. So it almost gives 2 different sort of textures. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And what I love about Impossible Brew and Unlimited, they both launched during lockdown. They had an ambition. They didn't let it stop them. They both released their beers. They have worked so hard on them, and that really shows in the product that's come out the other end, that they had an idea around what they wanted, that these drinks are about meeting their need too, as people who've changed their drinking. And I think that's, I guess, one of the wonderful things about beer, because of the way it's made, and you can, make a beer in, I guess, 3 months. It's not like wine that takes a lot longer. Probably do it in less than that, but but it means that you go, okay, well, I want to find the beer for me and my mates that I really want to drink. I'm going to try making that. And they're not both brewers by training at all. They've had an idea and they've gone out and found someone to help them do it, which I always think is incredibly admirable.
Yeah, absolutely. The testing times last year, and to be able to bring it out and bring out such a good product as well is really testament to their hard work.
Cool. And there's definitely somebody else who really likes unlimited IPA on here. So there's definitely some big fans. I'm definitely a big fan of the calorie count, having realised after climbing 3 mountains I need to lose some more weight again. Oh,
these are also gluten-free and vegan as well.
Yeah, and lots of the beers are now coming in vegan. There's very few, maybe some stouts aren't vegan. But to have a gluten-free one, there used to be one. When we did our first festival in 2017, there was Amber, which is the one gluten-free, alcohol-free beer that's been around a long time. How does this compare to Amber? I know I'm asking about another product that you sell, but Amber's been around a long time, and this is new tech.
Absolutely. So the Amber still holds up against most things, to be honest with you. I think it's a classic sort of continental lager. So it's more lighter, if you know what I mean, compared to sort of the English lagers. But the unlimited lager is, so you hold them side by side, and I don't know which one to choose. They'd both be fantastic over dinner. But yeah, against the IPA, it's definitely cleaner, crisper, not quite so choppy in the mouth. So they're both really good.
Somebody's saying I expect it will pair really well with vegan chocolate. I can tell you everything pairs well with chocolate. I top tip for you today.
I bet this one will pair well with chocolate. I reckon it really will.
Absolutely. Cool. So that's the roundup of the drinks in the Discovery Box this month. I've got no more questions from people, but we are interested in feedback. And if you're watching this on Watch Again, then you can ask questions underneath and we will come in and answer them. Or if there's things that you've seen that you want us to get hold of for a future Discovery Box, or if you want to subscribe and get the Discovery Box for next month, then you can do that too. But all of these products are also on the Wise Bartender website. So you can go to wisebartender.co.uk, which I didn't do a little ticker for. Wait a minute, I'm going to do it. Wise Bartender. This is where I spell it wrong, which I do every time. .co.uk. And if you wondered why Ed's got this really weird name, that's because that's his handle for his Instagram. You could put the app in front of it. Does it not let you do that?
I wasn't trying.
Okay, so you can find all of the drinks on Wise Bartender. So you could actually make up a box of these and get them sent to you, or you can sign up for the next subscription box, or you could just explore the website and find more stuff. And now you could probably fill a whole box with gluten-free, alcohol-free beer, which you definitely couldn't do when we had the first festival in 2017, so that's not that long ago. Or you could try like loads of kombuchas, which is why I always like to go and visit down at Wise Bartender, because I get to pick up some booch and have some fun with Jimba, because it's absolutely stunning and it's got so many uses in your home.
Absolutely. So out of the 8 drinks, I know they're all very different, but what was your favourite tasting out of this session tonight?
I find it really difficult because I have some natural biases and I try very hard to suppress them. Like, I'm a big kombucha fan, and in marketing, right, everyone tells you should tell the story of your product because it will endear you to people, and the people that want to find you will find you. And I'm a sucker for a story. So like, I love the stories behind all of the brands here, and the story behind Jimber and the story behind Celtic March. You know, there's a family orchard run by Celtic Marches. That makes me love Celtic Marches. You know, have spoken to Mark from Impossible Brew and heard him, you know, sit there and listen to take advice from me about beer, and because he's trying really hard to get it right for everybody. And the Square Root guys are just, if you haven't seen their videos launching their new can, their Thick of It style videos, then you can find them on their website and on YouTube and LinkedIn. They're just hilarious. And how could you not love them or want to drink their drinks? This is the problem I have.
Fair enough. Well, they are all great, to be fair, so I don't blame you.
And to be honest, you don't have to pick and choose between them, because there's different drinks here for different occasions. There's, you
Absolutely.
know,
That's what I said. It's so different, so varied, that you wouldn't want to have a favourite out of these, because then you'd be missing out opportunities.
I've got all of these in the fridge at home in some form or another, even if it's, you know, I've got Square Root gin and tonic still in. And definitely there are different days when I want a gin and tonic, to when I want a cider, to when I want a lager.
That's it. Depends what you're eating, depends what you're doing, depends who you're with, depends
but you know
what the weather's like.
Just to be able to say that there's all of these drinks and I can pick and choose is pretty good going compared to where we were. So that's the exciting thing.
Absolutely.
There you go. See? You can tell I did politics, can't you, with that answer?
Good sitting on the fence there.
But it's true. You know, there are some lovely people here, and you can fall in love with their drinks and them as a company, and it makes you feel very warm and fuzzy and lovely, which is half the feeling of having a drink.
Very true.
Brilliant. Guys, continue to ask questions as you watch this video again. That's us for this month, and we'll see you next month. Don't forget, if you want to be part of our wine club, that tasting is in a couple of weeks' time, and you can order the box now. And that will be me and Christine. Most importantly, Christine is one of the most respected professionals in alcohol, in drinks and wine generally. And I'm very pleased that she's offering her expertise to this. And actually, she's put it on LinkedIn today, and the whole of the drinks industry has gone wild, saying, well, why are you even bothering with alcohol free? From, oh, we're really looking forward to this because we need to find alcohol free for our venue. So that's going to be really exciting, and I'm really glad to be able to bring her to all of you to begin our journey right at what I think is the start of the alcohol free wine story. So that's cool. Brilliant.
Really.
All right, bye.